What do you want to chat about today?
Well, this is our first submission-based episode. We've got some really hot stories in. It was really hard to scale down what to talk about today.
Yeah, because lots of people get broken up with in a brutal way, I can't lie.
The streets are crazy out here. Like, it's way worse than I thought it was. Sorry.
Yeah, thank God I'm... Sorry,
Yeah,
thank God
no.
I'm cuffed because I'm
just-
scared.
Buckle up, bitches. This is gonna get bumpy. This is the breakup diet.
At least if we share some stories, like somebody might help someone. And it also might be entertaining because you might be like, oh my God, my ex did the same thing.
Yeah, okay, you know what? It's the relatability and the togetherness. We're not in this alone. Should we start with the first one?
Yeah, okay. So this is about being careful with like who you date after a breakup. This girl, she dated this guy for a really long time. He was super nice, was super in love, but like the relationship kind of was a bit toxic at the end and they just like weren't each other's person. Anyway, obviously they broke up. She's super heartbroken and everything. She's like, you know when you go through a breakup, you're a bit vulnerable. So she starts going out in London a bit, meets this other guy. Let's call him Benny. Oh, sorry.
Not to associate with my ex, Benny. Unless it is. If it is.
No. Okay, not Benny. I mean, like, let's call him Tim. So she meets Tim out. She, is going out with him a lot, not dating or anything, just as friends. She expresses to Tim, like, I can't have anything serious. I don't want a boyfriend. I don't want to see someone. Like, I'm still really hung up on my ex, After a while, he's like, I have feelings for you. And she's like, oh my God, maybe I should give this nice guy a chance. She's like, I'm not that attracted to him, but he's been so nice to me. Like, why am I not? And it very quickly turns really toxic because he's just really jealous. So to the point of like, she would sit down somewhere and this guy would like, if a guy even looked at her for too long, even if she didn't speak to him, he would shout at her. She's like, I know this is wrong, but I don't know. I don't want to be alone. Which is so hard.
Oh, it's hard.
Like, the final straw comes when, like, he basically was like, I want you to come to Henry Regatta with me. She's like, no, like, I don't want to. Like, I have work the next day. And her work wasn't in London, so she wouldn't be coming back with him after. She'd have to get a taxi then to this other place. Anyway, she's like, fine, he really wants me there. I'm going to do it. She gets there. He doesn't even answer his phone, doesn't like message her. So she's driven like an hour and a half and he's just got cold. Ends up locating him and he is so drunk that he can barely speak to her. Anyway, he's so drunk. He's like abusing her, starts shouting at her because she went to the bar and this man tried to talk to her. And then anyway, he gets so drunk, she's like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to get his friends. They can take him home. Anyway, she's like leaving the thing and to get out of it is quite hard. And she gets like notified by the police because he basically got thrown in jail, or not jail, but got arrested by them because he fell into the lake at Henry Regatta because he was so drunk and then obviously was like angry about it. And then so she had to come and pick up her boyfriend after he just abused her and he was drunk and fell in the lake. Anyway, after that, she was like, nah, I'm done with this. Like, I can't take this abuse. I got to get out. When they broke up, he then persisted to post on like social media calling her a dog. A dog.
Sorry, repeat that just again. So after doing all that, getting arrested, abusing, he goes on stories, public Instagram story to abuse her?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Still, she's like being the bigger person, trying not to let that get to her. She's like, oh my God, this is embarrassing for me. Like, he's making this a public thing and like, I actually haven't done anything. She goes away and he sends her a 16-page letter to her family house saying how bad she is and how horrible of a person she is. And basically was like the nastiest message you've ever.
16-page of what?
That's what she said.
Listing down every single dog breed.
Like, no, she said to me, she was like, to be honest, I don't know how he wrote 16 pages. I couldn't even write one.
Was it handwritten?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so that's their breakup story. She hasn't seen him since.
Thanks, self-respect.
But that is like the thing of like you can't get into something with the wrong person, especially if they're not mentally stable, because you like that after for her scared her to date again. Like she was already scared to date in a vulnerable spot, and then she has this psycho come and like do that to her.
And it's always annoying. Sometimes the rebound scars you way worse than your actual relationship.
Yeah, like her actual relationship, she like had love for him. They just didn't work out, you know? Like when she talks about it now, like you can tell. Whereas like this man's...
That is so messed up. I just can't get over the arrest and then falling into the lake and then also to ghost her before an event that he begged her to show up to.
Yeah, super toxic. Like, and then every single time a man would even just sit next to her, even if they were like his friends, if they spoke to her for too long or spoke to her, he would lose it.
I think it's because he was probably cheating on her. Because a man gets that jealous or that possessive when they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, because they like think like...
They project.
Yeah, they must be doing it because like I'm doing it. Or even if they don't think they're doing it, it makes them feel better about themselves.
I think it's a very toxic, weird way to assert your masculinity and dominance. And I'm so happy for your friend that she got out. Like, she must be thriving in the breakup diet, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, she went away straight away after. Because actually, yeah, she went away with me. So
well done!
And I remember when she got this letter because we were like, what the actual hell? It was really nasty. Like, I'm not going to say what was in the letter, but it was like...
So you've seen it?
I've heard what's in it. Do you have a story?
Well, I have a really good submission. I'm going to try and keep it as PG rated as possible because it does get a bit...
racy.
Yes. So, this was sent in from a bi guy. I'm just going to read out his submission. I'm a bi guy and started to explore things with guys. I met this one gay guy who just wanted to give me head all the time and was wanting to do that all the time. This was new to me because girls aren't like that. I mean, it's true. We're not.
Yeah, you're not like...
We're not dying for it.
Yeah, unless you're like a full-blown caller daddy...
That kind of thing.
Rep, which like I love, but... It like I'm not dying to do that now.
Same.
I want to be like, yes, this morning I want to wake up and do that.
Yeah, I get you.
Most girls, I don't think it would either.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I met someone, we were having fun, chatting, but the sex was just no good as, oh my god, he's given the guy a name. Gluck no return.
So it is a caller daddy.
Yeah, basically. I'm not sure how to stop thinking about how good their head was and focus on my current relationship because that person I'm seeing right now is so lovely. But I also don't know whether I should break up with them and start seeing Gluck no return again, even though I have no future with him. What can I do to stop thinking about it?
Okay, so my initial thoughts from the breakup diet, one of the co-hosts, I'm going to say, he needs to break up with his...
bad habits?
Yeah, he needs to break up with his fear, obviously, because he enjoys it. He enjoys the Gluck no return.
I mean, I think we all would if there's no return.
I don't know, I feel a bit awkward maybe.
Oh, I'm a taker.
You know what I mean? So I think he needs to break up with his, obviously, idea that he doesn't want to be with this other person. He needs to break up with the girl he's seeing, or the guy he's seeing, I don't know, and then, accept that this is what he's going for. This is the right route. Especially if it's that good, who cares? Go.
Do you know what I mean? But then, it's hard if you... I was just going to say, like, it might be so hard in that it feels so wrong because it's so easy.
Yeah. Also, maybe because he doesn't have to do any, like, work for it at all. Maybe it's a bit like...
So is that, like, that could never turn into a relationship? Come on.
No, I feel like lots of people do, Tony.
Really?
I feel like that is a thing. Like, people obviously are intimate and then they end up dating. I feel like that's how a lot of people trap people. They're like, that.
So with the Glock no return.
They trap them with the Glock no return. That's what you need to get on, Ilma. Then you can trap the men.
Oh,
You gotta be a
I would
giver.
need a return.
No, you gotta be a giver, not a taker.
No, I would need a return. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think he needs to break up with his bad habit of that and just go for it and see.
Yeah, I think so too, because otherwise it's just gonna sabotage all his current relationships. I mean, it is, I feel, if he's thinking about Glucky non-stop.
Quirky. Yeah, and it's kind of like if you're in a if you're trying to date again but you haven't recovered from your trauma of your ex. So when you're like trying to date again but your head's not there, it's all in the other basket, and then it's just like, it doesn't work out. So he needs to get rid of the other baskets.
Yeah, basically. Wow, what would you do in that position?
What if I explain
I wonder,
exactly?
no, sorry. I'm now thinking about what Glock no return is thinking. Like, what goes in his head to just like give head, expect nothing, and just go about his day?
I don't know.
Like, I actually kind of want to understand the psychology of like wanting to please someone that much.
Maybe he just maybe he is trying to trap him. He's like, I know I've got the goods. He's like, I know this will get him thinking.
I mean, it definitely has, but then like...
He definitely knows how to do it too because he's had it done to him.
Yeah, so he probably got Glocked no return.
Yeah, this probably happened to him and now he's...
Passing it on?
Yeah.
So the submitter might turn into a Glock no return as well.
Exactly. Evolution.
Wow, okay, well...
There we go.
Case closed. You learn a new skill.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, amazing. Do we have any more?
Yeah. I
Fun.
have more stories than asking for advice.
Okay, let's hear it.
People need to be aware of this story because it is genius. So this girl and guy in a relationship for 3 years. So they've been dating a while. They have like a mostly good relationship, but it's a little bit toxic here and there. Anyway, in the last year of them dating, he goes away for work and she receives a random message on Instagram being like, hi, is this your boyfriend? And she's like, yeah. Yeah, she's like, yeah, that is my boyfriend. Because this guy had her on his Instagram. So there's photos of them together. So anybody that would stalk would obviously see that. Anyway, so he's not hiding it. Anyway, she's like, yeah, that is my boyfriend. And she's like, well, I've kind of been talking to him on Tinder.
Stop it.
She's like, WTF? Like, what the hell? Obviously he confronts him, whatever. They have a massive row, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, plants a seed of like untrust in this man. Obviously. But they stay together, whatever. A year goes by again. And yeah. So they had this massive argument. They obviously resolved it, whatever. Messed up. She forgave him. Okay. But obviously over this year they're having more fights because she's lost a bit of trust in him. Like you would,
It makes you insecure.
That makes you insecure. Because then you're obviously thinking every time he goes out, like, what is he actually doing? Or you're thinking... You want to see his phone because he already did that to you before. Like, obviously you're
Even just, like, him sitting next to you being on his phone, I'd get insecure being like, what's he doing on his phone?
Yeah, which is like if a girl did that to a guy, he would feel the same way. But the difference is the guy wouldn't stay with the girl.
No, because guys have better standards, I feel.
I don't think they have better standards, but I think they're just
not in terms of, like, quality of people, but, like, they don't put up with shit.
Yeah, I feel like they just, because it's not the manly thing to do to take a girl back, so they don't do it. Whereas, like, a girl will fight for it because she doesn't even care, like, what other people are saying. Anyway, back to the story. So then, he goes away this time for a what trip? And she's like, he goes to Dubai, and she's like, okay, fine, whatever. She's like, I don't know. I just feel like I want to check. So she creates a fake profile of a girl that looked like quite trashy and that she knew he would like, and sets her location to his hotel room. Like, not hotel room, hotel that he's staying at in Dubai. So obviously, like, it's a 1 mile radius of this hotel. You're bound to probably come up. Anyway, he's away for like a week. She's like going through. She's like, oh my God, I'm being a psycho. Like, it's not going to come up. It's not going to come up. Anyway, she keeps going through because she's like, whatever. Anyway, on the last night, she goes through and she's just like, I'm just going to do one more. It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. And then she's like, she does it. Bang, he comes up. So she's like, what would I do in this situation? Super like him. So she sends him like the direct thing or whatever. So like it obviously comes up. And he obviously matches. Yeah. How bad. Anyway, at the same time, she's like, oh, I'm going to actually message my boyfriend as myself, you know, and try to FaceTime him and all this sort of stuff. So she's chatting him on FaceTime and he's like trying to get off the phone. He's like, I just got to pack. Like, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. She's like, okay, have a nice night. All at the same time, she's messaging him. And he basically invited this fake girl to his hotel room to sleep with her. And like, anyway, she was like being like on these messages, inviting her to the hotel room, all this. And she's like, ugh. So then she goes, like finally ends up just ghosting him at the end after he's like so desperately trying to get her over, the fake one. Anyway, in the morning, he's like, oh, where'd you go? She's like, oh, sorry, like I was a bit drunk. Like I just like went out or whatever. He comes back to London and this girl obviously goes and gets all her stuff and just says, oh, by the way, who's Julia? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, Julia messaged me. And to this day, he has no idea that it was her. He doesn't know. I was like, that's brilliant. She's like, I can't tell him because then he'll flip it and make it a me thing. But he cheated on me and was asking a girl to a hotel room. So I don't want to give him anything to like, you know, hold me accountable. He did the wrong thing.
Oh, she played it well. Like, Genius. Like, I want to stand up and applaud for her. She played it so well.
I think I would crack and I would be like, it was me. Or I'd be like, because I just would be like, you're so dumb. Like, I would want to rub that in. But the fact that she didn't even do that because she was like, you know, I just need to get out and away from this crazy person.
I love that for her. So she left with her head held high. Dignity still intact.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is the queen.
So I thought that was like a brilliant story because obviously I wouldn't have thought of doing that, but it's genius.
I think so too. A bit of investigation doesn't hurt, and once you've compiled your evidence, just leave. Sometimes the person doesn't even need a reason. Mm-hmm. They know. Also, if they're guilty, they know.
And also, this is like a few things, you know, to even get to that point of when you're feeling like you have to do that. He's made that problem. He's made that untrust. You know what I mean? To do that, you don't have to tell them. Like, if they've done something and you want to break up with them, you can break up with them, but you don't have to tell them all the truth. If they didn't tell you all the truth by cheating on you and, like, hiding things, then why would you tell them?
Yeah, I think, like, what she did is, like, a good example of soft ghosting. Sometimes that is so fine.
She didn't ghost him. She, like, got all her stuff and broke up with him, but she just didn't say
the reason.
She did, but she didn't say it was her.
Genius, honestly. Oh, she handled it the best way ever. I feel like I need to take notes.
Yeah, and also she was saying the reason the breakup didn't hurt as much for her at this point is that there'd been so many points that obviously she was sick. She was getting sick in herself of, like, all the scenarios, all the mental, like, strain that puts on you. You know what I mean? When you're in a toxic relationship and you need to break up, you're so unhappy. And then when it finally happened and it was like full hard evidence, like, you know what I mean? He spoke to her. He just didn't know. Then you're like, what can I do now? It's not something that you can just be like, oh, maybe that didn't happen. Like, maybe this girl got it a bit wrong. Like, you're like, no. That's why, like, a breakup is so hard, because it's not a one-stage process, you know? You have to come to terms with it yourself first, really.
And I feel like that can be the longest stage.
Yeah.
Like the toughest stage to get to because you're in denial for it for so long and you're kind of conditioned into thinking that, oh, but like I probably won't find anyone else better because like the streets are so rough right now. It's better to just be with someone than to be completely alone.
Yeah, it's like after you hear all these stories and these subs, you're probably thinking like, oh my god, if you're
I'm happy to be single.
Yeah, if you are in a toxic relationship, that you don't want to be single. But it's honestly better too because all these stories, they all have a similar thing that it did end.
It ended, and I feel like everyone's doing better because they're not in that relationship. I'm hoping.
Yeah. I mean, some of the like stories are not my close friends, you know, but from what I've heard through the grapevine, yeah.
Listening to these shitty relationship stories, it makes me want to be single.
You are single.
No, I mean, it makes me happy that I'm single, actually.
Yeah, I get you. If you're in a bad one where they're not good and that you're having all this trauma and then you have to go through the whole thing of the breakup and have all those problems that might follow you, then yeah, I get it. But no risk and no reward.
I'm happy that, you know what, all the relationships that I've had, I've left like unscathed and I want to remain unscathed.
Oh yeah, I get that. You should be happy. That's a win from you.
Yeah, I feel like I want that to be for everyone though. Everyone should be able to leave a relationship unscathed. Like if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There's no need for it to get nasty to the levels that we've discussed today. It's like, I don't know, it's like left such a shock to my system.
I think it gets nasty when people are like, they obviously care. You know, because I know that sounds weird, but, you know, when you're so passionate and you care so much and you're so, like, oddly linked to that person and then something happens, like, you're in such big rage. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's not correct, but you're so angry and you just can't control it. Seek therapy.
Seek therapy. That's, like, a big part of the breakup diet. Double therapy. Antidepressants. And just good behaviour to one another.
Yeah. And don't take it to social media.
Yeah, I think breakups should be between the two people. That's it. No one else needs to know. Apart from, oh, we're not together anymore. All this dirty underwear, burning this, exposing that. No need.
Yeah. So I think we should end on that.
Yeah. Be well behaved, guys.